Welcome to a new video of garbage war thunder vehicles, this time with double, no even more than double the suffering, because these two vehicles are legitimately the worst vehicles in the entire game. I originally spaded these two when the French tree was first introduced to the game, and well, it's safe to say they haven't really gotten any better. So let's get on with the review. I'll be comparing these to other reserve tier vehicles you'll find in the tech tree, but even that is fairly unnecessary considering the already well-established reputation / notoriety of these tanks. Even if you didn't know about them before, you can immediately notice something is wrong within the first 5 seconds of looking at them. Yes, I am talking about their gun. The SA-18L/21 cannon, 27mm APCR only. Except unlike the SDKF-221, this is not a squeeze-bore cannon, which means you end up with abysmal penetration values even on flat armor, and even worse on angled armor. Your single-shot 37mm cannon in fact has about as much penetration as the 20mm autocannon on a T60, or about as much penetration as the cannon on a T26 for minus actual damage. Forget about facing 2.0 vehicles, you can't even pen the T60 frontally. At least the gun depression is good. Let's talk about some less depressing aspects of these tanks. The armor. You have some quite decent armor for your tier, especially on the FCM, which gets 40mm angled armor on the front, and it is RHA, which means you get the full armor values, but you do have a weak spot on the turret face. It's kinda like a shitty French T-34. The H.35 gets a more uniformly thick armor without any obvious weak spots, though it is cast instead. Neither has heavy tank levels of armor, but considering the skill level of opponents you'll be facing, it is more than enough. Autocannons will struggle to penetrate your armor, though a properly aimed shot by a cannon will still cut through easily. Besides armor, you don't get any other advantage over other vehicles of the tier. Performance-wise, you'll average low 20s on flat terrain. If you want to climb a hill or go in reverse, my suggestion is don't. The H.35 is faster than the FCM, so it accelerates and goes faster, but even at top speed, it is easily going to get outpaced by most other tanks at its tier. Lastly, you only have 2 crew members. In realistic battles, that means losing any of your crew is an instant game over. Let's move on to the how to play aspect for these tanks. And honestly, there really is only one way to play them: close quarters brawling. While your armor would be even more effective at range, your shells simply do not do enough damage or have enough penetration for such a method to be of any effect. With the FCM, as long as you're not shot in the mantlet, you're tough not to crack, and you can angle the turret as it has the same amount of armor on all sides. The H.35 doesn't have as much armor as the FCM, but there really is no other way to play these tanks. You have to play aggressively. Use the extremely quick reload speeds at this tier to negate the disadvantages of the APCR. Even with the terrible damage of the APCR shells, thanks to the extremely quick reload speeds at this tier, it is still possible to knock out enemies one after the other. And if there's one thing that saves these tanks, it's their battle rating. You'll be facing newcomers, people who don't really know what they're doing, which generally means they won't be able to exploit your weaknesses, while also making more mistakes of their own that you can use to your advantage. So you can still get really good games with these tanks even though they're absolutely terrible. But then again, you could perform just as well, if not better, in any other reserve vehicle. I would say that the FCM is kind of a unique experience, as it doesn't have anything similar at its battle rating. But there really isn't any reason to play the H.35 unless you want to spade it, as the H.39 is a direct improvement over the H.35 on all aspects, armor, firepower, speed, while staying at the same battle rating. Considering that these tanks are already at the lowest BR possible and were removed from the normal tech tree, at least until we unlock tier 2, Gaijin has already done a fairly good job of addressing them. Honestly, the only reason to seriously consider playing the remote French reserves in general is for spading them, or making a video trash talking them like me. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Goodbye.